Welcome to Gold Squadron Paint Wars, a painting competition that gives 3 painters the same model, theme, and 2 weeks to give us their best work, whose technique, artistic choices, and most importantly, execution of today's theme will earn them a Paint Wars Champion medal.
My name is Dan Smith, and I've been painting miniatures since I was about 12 years old. I think I've been into the hobby a bit more seriously for about 2 or 3 years or so though. And I'm from Perth in Australia. I'm super stoked to be part of the Gold Squadron Paint Wars competition. I can't wait to see what I have to paint. I can't wait to see how that turns out. And I can't wait to see what everyone else does as well. It's going to be really cool and I can't wait to see the outcomes.
Hi, my name is Alberto Ego-Aguirre. I live in Lima, Peru, and I've been painting for about 19 years now. I am really excited to be a part of this and have a chance to show to see how far my skills and creativity can get me.
Hi, my name is Ben Bailey. I am from St. David, Arizona, and I have been painting miniatures since December 2019. I'm really excited about this competition. I've never done anything like this before. I've never really have painted a ship with a theme to this extent, so I'm really excited to see how that goes. I have all these different ideas in my head and I'm anxious to see how it's going to come out on the actual model. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. I'm most nervous about getting my paint to do what I want it to do. Sometimes paint has a mind of its own and I have a plan, and then because of the paint and other outside factors, it just kind of morphs and changes into something different, which can be very nerve-wracking but also really cool at the same time. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's a great privilege. Again, never done anything like this before, and I'm so excited to see the end product in the series in general, to see all the amazing talent that's out there.
The Kingdom of Wakanda is home to the Black Panther and one of the most technologically advanced nations in the Marvel Universe. While the depictions of the Wakandan society differ between the comic books and the cinematic universe, either path gives you a diverse palette to work with. And the model being painted for this prompt is the customized YT-1300.
Wakanda Forever!
The Kingdom of Wakanda is the home of the Black Panther and one of the most technologically advanced nations in the Marvel Universe.
While the depictions of the Wakandan society differ between the comic books and the cinematic universe, either path gives a diverse palette to work with. All right, Bombay, baby! There's gonna be some fun things I can do with that.
There are some cool things we can try, and it's got a lot of clean lines that will lend it well towards the futuristic, clean look of Wakanda. And obviously we're going to need a lot of black paint for this.
Let's do this.
Our lead judge today is Wade Pache. We're also joined by Chris Kuzmanoff and Lila Meff. Judges, with the prompt of Wakanda Forever, there are so many different directions that the painters can go. Where would you go if you were participating today?
Knowing Black Panther, I would love to see our painters utilize costumes from across the Black Panther universe, whether it's Black Panther himself, or Killmonger, or Okoye, or Shuri as well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys do.
I would try to embrace the iconic art stylings from both the comics and the movies themselves, that they really do a great job of paying homage to the culture that they are trying to represent, and I try to bring that into my model.
When I think of Black Panther, the first thing I think about is purple. The second thing is a lot of the geographic patterns that we see on Black Panther's costumes, as well as the costumes we see throughout the movie. So I'm definitely looking for clean, freehand lining and the color purple as well.
I want to make the YT-1300 look like the Wakandan royal ship that T'Challa flies throughout the film. Both ships have a roughly circular shape that comes to a point towards the front, and the royal ship actually has a lot of design elements from a tribal mask, which I might be able to reuse during the paint job. I think that could look quite cool. But one of the key features from the royal ship that I want to use here are fins on the back. So I've taken a leaf from Yondu's book and I've put a prototype fin on the back of the ship here, just made from plastic card. I think that looks pretty cool. and I'm going to be sticking a bunch more along the back of the ship to make it look like the Wakandan royal ship. Before I start painting, I wanted to talk to you about the modifications I've made to the ship, and perhaps give you a little sneak preview of what it's going to look like. And I've made all of these out of plastic card. This is just a thin plastic sheet. I think this is 1 mil or half a mil thick, this one. So you can see I've set a bunch of fins into the back of the ship here, and these are all pretty much the same shape. So before I made these out of plastic card, because I don't have very much, I used a piece of cardboard as a template and then cut all these based on that. On the front, 4 more fins. These are just simple triangles, and they're held in place with super glue and just a tiny bit of green stuff on each of them. In terms of the paint job, I will be starting with a black undercoat, and going from there, I'm really going to just see where the model takes me. Maybe I'll use some of those tribal mask ideas, or perhaps some of the details on the ship itself, the sculpt, will give me some inspiration. I want to try and go for some pop and maybe some cool colored glow, like on the engines. Perhaps some purple to look like Black Panther. But I'm really going to be winging it and seeing what works as I go. The one thing I'm concerned about is friction fit here for the escape shuttle. This rubs with the ship when you fit it in, and that means it's going to rub the paint off if I paint in this groove here, or even along the bottom. And in fact, it already is rubbing the original paint job off on the bottom. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. I could put a magnet in and file the edges down. I could just leave it grey and make it look like it's supposed to be grey. Either of those solutions could work, but I'm not sure what the best approach is there. So that's going to be an interesting challenge to solve going forwards.
For the theme that I've been given, the challenge that it is, I'm going to be using a couple of different tools. I'm still thinking, I just have a rough sketch of what I want to do on my mind. Actually, I get to paint 2 ships, because this counts. And it being a separate thing actually gave me an idea onto what I'm going to be doing. The first thing that came to my mind was just doing Black Panther, but that's not actually accurate. So what I'm going to be trying to do is to nail both things into one theme, or incorporate the Black Panther thing into my theme. I first made a plan of just going with the researching a little bit of African culture to marry it with the Wakandan culture, and then go all very colorful on the ship. But as I was going into it, it didn't feel right, and I felt like I was leaving out Black Panther out of it. So I changed it up a bit. I thought that since I had 2 ships on one, I could actually make a homage to him. I 3D printed a little panther, my little panther friend here, who's gonna go on top of the escape pod. And the escape pod is actually gonna represent, I wanna make it like a homage to Black Panther. I'm gonna try to make it so that the pod's paint job meshes with the rest of the Falcon. It should start with everything on a dark color, or I want to do like a dark palette of colors. I'm using this Series 7 Windsor brush that I had stashed for. I have just a couple of these stashed around, and only for special work that I get to do. And most of the painting is gonna be done with Vallejo paints using model color. I just gave myself a challenge on top of a challenge, and I hope I can nail it, because I'm gonna try and do something a little extra on the ship.
I usually don't have a plan of action. I like to kind of fly and paint at the seat of my pants and kind of see where the paint wants to go, right? I did do a lot of research in preparation. That's usually my first step. So I did a lot of research of the Wakanda universe, the Wakanda nation, the MCU, and the comic books. And I decided and settled on the Dora Milaje, who are the warrior bodyguards for Wakanda royalty. And I just love their outfits. I love their armor. I love their bright colors. They're not scared to be seen. And I really like that idea for this repaint. So I'll be using them as kind of like my color palette as I do this repaint, and kind of base
the designs and the scheme off of their colors for their armor. So I'll be using a lot of vermilion, I think. This will be my base. I've already primed it, but I'll be using vermilion as my base and an accent with different designs like chevrons and diamonds with, these different colors with orange and gold. And I have this heavy sienna to kind of contrast with those bright colors, have this nice rich brown. And then I like to use a flesh color wash, kind of put it in the cracks and dirty it up a little bit. That's one of my things. Almost on all my repaints, I like to, being indented and to make it look like it's really gone through the ringer. So I'll definitely be doing that with this one. As for other tools that I'll be using to achieve this, I have a Badger number 150. I have no idea what that means. My dad, who's a professional airbrush artist, gave this to me, and it works great. Absolutely love it. Really going on some expensive paintbrushes because there's some really expensive ones out there. So I just went to my local Hobby Lobby, picked this up, $5, 40% off. It's like $3, and they work great. I think the part that I'm most concerned about or worried about is the escape craft and painting it in such a way that it will still slide in and out, but also make use of these scratch marks that are inevitably going to be getting on it as this slides in and out on the model. So trying to make that look good but also functional, and being able to make this kind of stand on its own as its own separate piece, and then have this stand on its own as its own separate piece, but have a seamless design that so when they're together, it looks really sharp and like it's meant to be, not some hideous puzzle piece that doesn't belong. So that's the part I'm most worried about, but I'm pretty confident I'll be able to come out with something. So Wakanda Forever, let's get to it.
After 2 weeks of planning, painting, and sculpting, let's see what you created. The first category in our competition is technical quality. This focuses on the execution of the repaint. Our judges will be looking for clean application of paints as well as the quality of construction for any modifications made to the model.
As we look at Daniel's ship for technical qualities, really appreciate how they modded their ship by adding the fins on the back, as well as having very clean edge highlighting and very bold, vibrant pink colors as they are going through their ship. When I look at Ben's ship, I really like the clean lines and the geometric patterns that they really took time to put within their ship, and also the little paint chips that they have throughout their color scheme and their ship. As I look at Alberto's ship, I really like the freehand that they put towards the front and the panels that they picked out around.
The next category in our competition is artistic quality. This focuses on color choice and how those choices work together, as well as the general effect that these choices have on the model.
When I'm looking at Alberto's ship, I am noticing the complementary colors that were used between the orange and purple of the lightning as well as the orange panels that are on the ship. I'm also seeing how they've used that purple and continued it in the little details throughout the ship's body to help tie it all together. I also enjoyed their use of the metallic gold to highlight some of those more interesting three-dimensional elements. Daniel used that vibrant pink and purple that I was looking for when I think about the Black Panther. I also liked how they use those more vibrant colors to draw the eye to the more interesting parts of the ship, even if it's just the edges with that subtle OSL where it looks like the ship edges are beginning to light up, as well as using that hot pink to draw the eye towards the more interesting round shapes that are far more unusual on this particular ship design. I love that Ben's ship used the artistic style from the Wakanda culture. Those geometric patterns that I was talking about, that I was looking for, that really says Wakanda is exactly what they utilized in this ship. I also really like the blue cockpit that they added because that pop of blue is an interesting color contrast to the more warm, earthy tones of the rest of the ship.
Our final and most important category in the competition is thematic quality. Did the painters actually adhere to the prompt given? And if so, whose choices make the strongest connection to today's prompt?
Kinetically energized, this Falcon looks like it's ready to just dish it all out. The purple and pink panel lighting really kind of fills into the theme of using Black Panther's kinetic energy to redirect his blows and his all-out superpowers. Ben, I really love the clean patterns mixed with the weathering and the very kind of subtle chipping of the ship. Not only did I feel like this fit Wakanda's theme, but I also really felt like this could live in the Star Wars universe. And that icon on the top of the ship was just Alberto. Your patterns along the edges was really well done. I really liked what you were doing with that, and I really like your lightning freehand. But I would have loved to see kind of more of a toned-in theme for your ship overall.
As our judges have their final deliberations, let's hear from our painters.
So we can safely say that I am pretty happy with the end result. I really enjoyed the experience. I've never had a miniature where I can take my time and put everything I know onto it. I usually just pick one thing or another just to make a miniature pop. I did use a little bit of everything I know. I did dry brush, I did highlighting, I did a little bit of weathering, I did some freehand on it, and I customized it. So I hope you like it, because my favorite thing is what I did at the front of the ship with something I 3D printed just for it. I felt like it having a little bit of edge fit the theme of it being a statue. I could have had more time with it. It's more than anything, I got a job finally about at the same time that the ship came. So I was pretty busy at the time, but I managed to put most of my free time on it, and I feel happy how it came out. I think I'm confident. Yeah.
And that's a wrap on the customized YT 1300 freighter for the Wakanda Forever theme. I had a lot of fun painting this ship, not one but two, so there was a lot of surface area to cover between the Falcon and the escape craft. And I really enjoyed taking a ship that I would normally paint in a desaturated, grimy color to represent the Star Wars lived-in universe feel, and bringing that to the polished, shiny nation of Wakanda in the bright, vibrant Marvel universe. So that was really fun. I also really enjoyed putting fins on the ship. It's always fun gluing bits on things and cutting bits off things. So that was something that was just awesome fun to do. One thing that I would love to have another crack at if I was going to do the project over was the vents on the back of the ship. The circular vents at the top, I couldn't sell the glow effect that I wanted on them. I wanted something sort of blue glowy, a bit like the engines, and it just wasn't looking right. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's because subconsciously I knew that there should be black grime streaking out of those vents like in the movies, and black grime doesn't fit right for Wakanda. It should be clean and neat and tidy. And so the glow effect just looked weird to me. In the end, I've done something different with those vents, and I'm pretty happy with it, but that's an area that I'd love to experiment with a bit more. I'm super excited though to see what my competitors have done with the ship. I hope we've all gone from completely different angles, because I'm really excited to see the different ways that people have brought this ship to life and the theme to life as well. I've got no idea if I'm going to win, but I'm stoked to be in the running even. So let's see what we've got.
Hey, the overall experience of the Paint Wars was awesome. I have never done anything like this before, participate in a paint contest. It was a super good experience. I was nervous about it, and the nerves kind of just went away as I kind of got into a groove and did my thing with the repaint of the ship, of the YT 1300. So I had a great experience doing it. Happy with the result. I think it turned out great. Kind of reminds me of a Happy Meal a little bit, but it also looks reminiscent of the Dora Milaje, which is what I was going after, the bright colors. So I'm very pleased with the end result. My favorite thing about it would probably have to be the cockpit jeweling. That's a technique or something that I've been trying to work on lately, and I was pleased with how this one turned out. This is the second one I've ever done, so really like the cockpit jeweling. I think it turned out really good. If I had more time, I think I would love to spend a little bit more effort on the underside. The underside is part of the model that nobody usually sees, but I like to try to give it as much attention as I do the top side of the ship, but I ran out of time. So that's something I do wish I could work on a little bit more. I'm hoping it will stand out. I'm hoping no one else decided to do the Dora Milaje. And I'm hoping that mine is unique in that regard, and because of that uniqueness with the bright colors and the statement that makes, I'm feeling pretty confident with my end results and whatnot for the paint competition. So, but absolutely loved it. Probably love to participate and do it again someday. But it was a really good experience, and I learned tons.
The winner of this episode of Gold Squadron Paint Wars is... Bailey.
Ben, congratulations. This was a really hard choice between both you and Daniel. I want you guys both to feel like you did really well. But the main thing that broke it for me was like this was a ship that I felt would fit right into the Star Wars universe as well, which we don't really see a lot of in a lot of these. And if I'm judging the next season, I would definitely think of that as well. So for those future painters.
Thank you to our painters and judges for their amazing work, and thank you to you for watching Gold Squadron Paint Wars. The models being painted on our show are going to be given away to you, our audience and supporters, so be sure to subscribe to this channel and then follow us on Instagram and Twitch so that you don't miss when we're giving these models away. And if you want to be a part of our largest group of supporters, the ones that make this show possible, head over to patreon.com/Gold Squadron. It is linked below. Now, let us know in the comments, do you agree with our judges? And is there a painter who was on today's episode that you think is deserving of another chance in a future episode? Thanks for watching Gold Squadron Paint Wars. Gold Squadron out.